Let's talk about a huge problem that's probably hiding in plain sight inside your organization. It's called cybersecurity fatigue, and it's this feeling of being totally overwhelmed by all the rules, alerts, and passwords. And trust me, it has some pretty serious consequences. So what does this fatigue actually look like day to day? Well, to fix it, you first have to be able to spot the symptoms. So let's dive in and look at the telltale signs that your team is just plain worn out. Does any of this look familiar? I bet it does. Reusing that same old password because it's just easier. Putting off that software update till tomorrow. That heavy sigh when another security pop-up appears. Look, these aren't signs of bad employees. They're signs of exhausted ones. And believe it or not, there's actually a name for this. Researchers over at NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, they call it cybersecurity fatigue. It's that mental burnout you get from being on high alert all the time, which ironically leads people to just check out and ignore the very things meant to protect them. You know, someone in that NIST study absolutely nailed it. They said, it's just something else to have and keep up with. And that's it, right? Security stops feeling like a shield and starts feeling like another impossible chore on a never-ending to-do list. So the big question is, why does this happen? To really solve this problem, we've got to get to the bottom of what's causing all this burnout in the first place. So let's take a look at the root causes. And when you look at this list, it's basically a collection of our everyday frustrations, isn't it? That feeling of password overload, trying to create another complex password you'll never remember. The constant stream of alerts that you just start to ignore. Those policies written in crazy technical jargon. And oh man, that same boring training session every single year. But the big one, it's when security just feels like it's getting in the way of you doing your actual job. And that right there is the heart of the problem. When security measures slow people down, they're gonna look for shortcuts. It's not malicious, it's just human nature. If a policy is too complicated or a tool is too slow, people will find a workaround to get their work done, even if it creates a risk. So this brings us to the so what question. Why does all this fatigue actually matter to the business? Well, as we're about to see, employee burnout translates directly into massive, massive risk. Let's just start with this number. Let it sink in, $9.44 million. That is the average cost of a single data breach in the US. When one tired, fatigued employee makes one tiny mistake, the financial fallout can be absolutely devastating. And where do these crazy expensive breaches come from? Well, the data is crystal clear. More than half of them, 52%, are tied to the human element. That means a person, usually a well-meaning but exhausted employee, was the way in for the bad guys. That directly connects that feeling of burnout to millions of dollars in damages. And this isn't just a few people here and there, it is everywhere. A Harvard Business Review study found that a whopping 2/3 of employees openly admitted to breaking cybersecurity rules, mostly because the rules were just getting in their way. This isn't an isolated problem, it's a systemic one, and it's driven by fatigue. Okay, so that's the problem. It's big, it's expensive, and it's happening everywhere. But here's the good news. It is absolutely solvable. So now, let's get into the good stuff. The actionable strategies, a 4-part cure to fix cybersecurity fatigue. Here's our game plan. We're gonna walk through 4 key things: how to build a positive security culture, how to make security way less annoying, how to completely overhaul training, and finally, how to make it all actually matter to your people. First things first, culture. This is non-negotiable, and it has to start at the top. When leaders lead by example, everybody else listens. And you gotta get rid of the blame game. Instead of punishing mistakes, use them as teaching moments. And celebrate the wins. When somebody spots a phishing email, make a big deal out of it. And hey, why not ask your employees for their ideas on how to make policies better? Give them some ownership. Next up, we have got to make security easier. The whole goal is to go from friction to, well, seamless. Think about it. Instead of forcing people to juggle 20 different crazy passwords, you move to single sign-on. Instead of bugging them with update prompts, you just automate it in the background. The goal is simple. Make the secure way the easiest way. All right, strategy number 3 is all about training. Let's just be honest with ourselves. The old way is broken. No one learns anything from a boring, hour-long slideshow they're forced to watch once a year. The new way is all about continuous, bite-sized learning. It uses stories, maybe even a little humor, to be relatable. And it uses games and challenges to make it active and fun. And the numbers back this up in a huge way. I mean, the difference is just staggering. When you gamify training, 83% of employees say they feel more motivated. You stick with the old, boring way, that number drops to just 28%. Making training fun isn't a gimmick. It's how you actually get people to engage and remember things.
And our final strategy might just be the most important one of all. You have to explain the why. Get rid of the jargon. Don't just tell people the rule. Explain how following it protects the company's future, how it keeps their team safe, and how it even protects their own personal information. When people understand what's in it for them, fatigue starts to fade away and a sense of purpose takes its place.
So, when you put it all together, you realize this isn't about some one-time fix. This is about making a fundamental shift. It's about building a healthy, resilient security culture that's built to last. And this is really the core idea. For years, we've heard that people are the weakest link in security. But that's just the wrong way to think about it. When you fight fatigue by empowering your people with the right tools, the right culture, and the right knowledge, they transform. They stop being your biggest weakness and become your single greatest defense. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Take a hard look at your own organization. Are you building a culture that empowers your people to be defenders? Or is it a culture that's just exhausting them? Because honestly, the answer to that question could be worth millions.